somehow randomly one company will buy, millions of different, columns or cells, I guess, on a spreadsheet, and all that data is accumulated essentially, like painting a big picture of who you are. So like from all the way back from 1996 to all the way present, and they find all these common things between like, oh well, this person had an AOL account, and this person over here still uses the same email address. We can deduce that these two columns are the same person. So now we're going to merge that, and now we recognize this person that used AOL, it used this name, and this person with this name had this other different account. So now we're going to merge this column now. That's all they're doing. It's just a slow and steady merger of data, and it's up to the highest bidder. That's all it is, man. That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, oh, you're live on my TikTok right now, by the way, John Kitover. And it's amazing if you go on TikTok or, oh my God, bro, there's just so many fucking carnival circus freaks on TikTok with human deformities that are like, get tons of views. Human suffering and the carnival, the circus, or the freak show has always been popular on the internet. Um, I see these little videos of this like little deformed girl who like her body could never grow, and she like does those dance videos and goes, you know what I'm talking about? Like the little midget girl who sings on the mic and she does these dance routines.
I think I might know. There's too many fucking freaks. I don't know.
Anyways, the only reason I bring it up is because so for some reason on TikTok I always see freak shows as opposed to like other platforms. TikTok seems to be like disability, algorithm. So, anyways, I'm hoping it boosts me because like I have Down syndrome now, and I identify with autism. So,
oh, definitely, you're on the spectrum.
yep, I identify with the spectrum.
There is definitely some neurodivergency. Would I dare say that you have autism? I don't know, but you're definitely neurospicy.
Neurospice.
1,000%.
If I could show you the insults that I get on my live streams, like some of them are so. I got called Rob Reiner yesterday.
This is not Edmund. This is John Kitover.
Oh, hey, Buttercup.
I thought you were John Kitover.
Yeah, that's who I am. I'm running for Congress in the 16th district. How are you? You're in a lot of my videos, Buttercup.
I am. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not Buttercup. I'm Butter Nutter.
I try to talk to Buttercup about.
Wait, let me confirm your new profile. Butter Nutter, huh? Butter Nutter.
I also,
oh man, I could only imagine hearing all the other conversations with Butter Nutter instead of Buttercup, because Buttercup is a better neurolinguistic program for people because it's like such a sweet name, but like Butter Nutter is a little, more spicy. Anyways, congratulations on your new Butter Nutter.
Thank you. What happens is I friend all these people that I knew before, and they all think I'm like a troll because there were so many fake Buttercups.
Yeah.
And they all call me Butternutter or Butternuts or Butter Cunts. Like they have so many like nicknames for me that they just assume it's one of the imitators. No one believes it's me, and that way I get to keep a small circle.
John, can you tell her some good stories from back in the day? Like some really good, it's like some stuff that she's missed. She thinks that this app is amazing. It's like, oh my God, I'm like, if you think this is amazing now, like she completely missed the whole boat. So like it's so bad. Like John doesn't even do anything anymore on this app.
John does a lot of stuff.
No. John, please tell her.
What are you talking about? I got 4 accounts going right now recording this room.
But back in the day, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like.
Wait, are you recording this room right now?
Yeah.
He's always recording.
Okay, fuck! I just gave away that I'm Buttercup. Now everyone's gonna know. Damn it.
No, nobody will know. Like nobody wants to ever look at my stuff. Nobody cares about it now.
Wait, you know that nobody looks at your stuff and you still do it?
Yeah, because what's the difference? Like, who cares? Like, I'm gonna do it anyways.
It's a lot of work, no?
Clicking a fucking button on a phone? You call that hard work?
How many phones do you have? You have like 6 phones?
No, Butter, you have no idea.
I want to see the operation. I've seen like videos of your operation.
Butter, I've seen it when it was Pete John Kitover over here.
It's the biggest it's ever gotten. Like my old setup doesn't even. Now I have so many. I just ordered 9 more tripods. Like I'm gonna record everything, and I've got recording studios. I'm gonna like run room to room all day long, literally in my house, and like record everything, all the good.
You're manic though. You have like 16 different Twitters, 16 different YouTube, 16 different.
Don't expose him. I love his neurodivergency. Let him flourish.
No, but how do you have time to run for Congress when you have?
I'm talking about. I got 16 phones running for Congress, as opposed to the one guy who's got one phone.
That's so smart. You're gonna split the vote though. You're gonna like ruin the.
No,
election.
they already removed me from the ballot, but I'm running as a writing candidate.
Did they remove all of you from the ballot?
Well, the thing is, they can't take away my credibility now as being candidate. And I've created so much content that backs up my candidacy that the next campaign that I'm running in is in March. So I've just got the branding, totally built up. But the thing is, I spam so many people on X, like Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi. Like I spam real people with my real name, but it's not spam. It's my real political opinion.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I'm having conversations here, intellectual conversation.
Okay,
Why?
well, you're gonna have this conversation in my room. Can you guys come there instead?
It's up to my other partners in crime here.
Yeah, can you guys come into the other room? Everyone is there.
Yeah, send us the link.
I don't know the other. I don't see the other room.
Bad. Why are you trying to come in here? You didn't even answer the question yet. Do you suck dick or are you gay? Which one is it? Did you tell me to wash my mouth?
I said I raped your mom.
You'll rape my mom?
Yeah.
All right, I'm reporting you. I'm screenshotting this room, and I'm reporting your account right now.
I raped your mom twice. Record that.
Okay, twice. That makes it 3, right? Here we go. You're good.
Okay,
Let me show you how it works. Report an incident. They said something wrong. Harassment. Abusive language. Raped my mother. And raped my God.
Yeah.
A very vulgar, profane, abusive, and sick, violent person.
Yeah, and your mom is a bitch.
Also, my mother is a bitch.
Yeah. And
This is high art.
Okay, now I'm screenshotting this.
My mother is a bitch.
Now I'm
are you
screenshotting
gonna act
this.
disabled or are you gonna join the room?
Share the link. I don't know which one. What does it say? What's the room? What does the room say?
Nigga, the room is
Oh, hard R. Gotta update it. Gotta update it on that one.
What does the room say?
He had the tone in his voice.
What does the room say?
He had the tone in his voice.
Oh, he had a tone in his voice. Okay, I see it.
Okay, join it, bitch.
Woo.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
Trigger.
bad. PTR.
Oh,
Updated.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck. Report me. Like, what the fuck?
that's right, nigga.
I had to update it for the hard R bad.
What a bitch. Like, imagine talking to this nigga.
Damn. Well, all right. We outie.
Parker Memorial Homeless Ministry sued the city, arguing the law violated their religious duty to feed the hungry. 2013, a federal judge ruled that the ordinance did violate the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act. So the judges permanently enjoined the city from enforcing these specific restrictions against the plaintiffs. The ordinances that were removed were the ones requiring running water and bathrooms. Current rules as of 2025. So it looks like everything stayed in place. So you got to give them 24-hour notice if the event is hosting more than 75 people. Fewer people can be provided within 48 hours. Safety requirements: servers must use hand sanitizer, disposable gloves, food kept at certain temperatures. So it just seemed like really the only ordinance issue they had was the running water in the toilets.
And I told you they had to go through the government in order for them.
Yeah, they sued.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't 2005.
You didn't organize it, man. You don't know what paperwork they supposed to happen.
Hold on. It was between 2018 and 2025. Obviously 2025, but it was between that. It was around that time. It was for a short time, and it was because we lived there. We were there walking around. Right, there were officers that were shutting down people and it was explicitly for feeding the homeless people. That's what it was specifically.
That's a long time.
Right. Well, obviously not 2025, not 2023, not 2022. It was between 2020, 2018 and 2020. It was
but the only thing that changed me, like even I'm looking at the 2025 rules, everything's the same except for the toilets and the running water. So nothing changed besides those two. Those are the only things that were changed.
Oh my God! Listen,
that's just what I'm reading.
Yeah. Well, Google doesn't answer all of your questions. You know what I'm saying? But believe what you want. Believe what you want.
You haven't answered any question. Google's wrong. You're wrong. So I mean, who do we believe? You? And trust me, bro. That's your facts.
Yeah, I could get the guy who organized it, Patrick Smith. Yeah, Patrick Smith is the guy who organized it. He's a very close friend of mine who I can have come on this app, who I did bring to this app before. Okay, well, he's the guy who organized it, and we could talk to him.
I know how protests in this nation work, okay? Once it gets over a certain amount of people that show up, right, you have to notify the fucking city.
It wasn't, we didn't, and I know for a fact none of us did. I know none of us did. No, I know none of us did because that's not what we do. We intentionally do forms of activism. We intentionally, Uncle Ruckus, that's against our philosophy. Do you hear what I'm saying though?
You guys just showed up.
Uncle Ruckus, do you understand what I'm saying?
Already had the event planned. They already planned to get out there.
Not other people. It wasn't other people. This was done by Patrick Smith. Okay.
I know how it works.
Hold on. There's a group of us. Okay. It was a meeting of we meet right every 2 weeks. We have meetings. Right. We host events. Right. We have annual get-togethers on top of big annual get-togethers. Okay. People all over the nation come. Right. In Dallas, Fort Worth, the group of us, the volunteers. That's how it formed. A bunch of us, a group of us. It wasn't just one person. Patrick Smith led it, and then the group of us decided this is what we were going to do. We formed Feed the Need, and that was one of the things that we did. Okay, that's my point. I mean,
Well, here's the funny part. I'm reading this Reddit. So it's that. This is funny as hell. So it says Dallas, Texas. I put the link in the chat. Dallas, Texas made it illegal to feed and help the homeless. So every year for the past 7 years, a group of Texas provide aid and food to the homeless while armed to the teeth. And even in the Reddit thing, people are calling this idiotic. They're like, what are you going to do? You expect the police to show up and start a shootout? And, you need guns. They said it's not illegal. People in this Reddit chat are saying it's not illegal to serve food to the homeless. You just need to let the fucking city know. And they're like, showing up with guns and shit, it's fucking retarded. Like, what was the point? So even on Reddit,
liking people that don't live there, right, again.
Yeah. It just kind of felt silly that you guys would show up just because there's a couple
maybe two aren't adding up. Maybe the internet doesn't give you all the answers that you would be want. Maybe there's a real life example of real world shit that's not on a Google. You guys are ridiculous.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like something you get armed for. That doesn't. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's not much to ask that, hey, we want to feed the homeless, so we're giving you 48 hours notice. We're going to have hand sanitizer, and the food's going to be served at a proper temperature. As long as those things are met, you don't have any problems, Mima. So what's the point of the guns and shit?
Oh, because they want to be activists. They went from the armchair in the living room in the basement.
Because they're such ugly. Because there's such ugly people on SSRIs. You get the glasses and everything. They're terrible people. And that's why they just
couldn't afford to go to the range that day.
Exactly.
Not a gun that they never used, so they had to show up. They had to show it somewhere.
Horrible people.
Says the bootlicker.
No, I'm just saying though, man. From what unless you got something else, Beamer, but it does seem silly, man. That's a silly argument you brought up.
Of course it does.
Can I just say that
with guns, when clearly the city allows you to feed the homeless, they just got a couple provisions in place that are very hard to follow or attain.
Can I just say that, Check, you might want to check yourself for saying horrible and awful or terrible people. You know, I think I've heard you say that like 1,000 times today, and then 1,000 times yesterday, 1,000 times.
What am I supposed to say? Yeah, it's the best thing ever in the whole entire world. Like,
I don't try to go get a you know what a thesaurus is, or like Grok. You can like do some large language model. Try to learn some new English words or something. I know English isn't your first.
It's terrible. Merry Christmas, bro. But what am I supposed to say? Yeah, this is the best woman in the whole entire world. Yeah, we're having a good time. If something is terrible, it's terrible. Like, what do you want me to say?
I don't know. Get some new words. You know, limit yourself to how many times you use terrible. Otherwise, you might end up becoming terrible.
Bro. English is my third language, bro.
Well, that's just horrible. You should try to learn more English. That's horrible that you don't know more. It's terrible. It's just horrible. It's just terrible, horrible that you don't know more English. It's horrible.
Yeah, I want to say something else. Yeah, tell me, what do you want me to say? Essentially,
I don't know. Just like you say horrible, terrible all the time, every day on this app. It just gets so tired. It's awful. It's horrible. It's terrible.
It's applicable.
Well, it's horrible. It's just so horrible that you have to use the word horrible all the time. It's horrible.
Like, what do you want me to say?
I don't know. It's kind of like me saying horrible over and over again. It's just horrible that you use the word horrible all the time. It's just terrible.
Don't come in here and be like, yeah.
Well, it's just horrible. You use the word horrible all the time, and it's terrible that you use the word terrible. I've heard you say it horrible. It's horrible. You said horrible 1,000 times today. It's horrible.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. For the past 3 years on this app, it's horrible how many times you've said horrible, and it's terrible how many times you've said terrible. It's horrible.
I'm dealing with scumbags. I'm dealing with people that are just.
I know it's horrible.
What am I supposed to say to you?
I don't know. It's terrible, but it's horrible. I understand. It's horrible and it's terrible.
Don't come here and be like, these people are the worst. What do you want me to say?
Oh, they're just the worst.
Huh? Do you have wait a second. Do you have a different definition of what I want to say to him? Like, what am I gonna say? Huh? It's the best of the best. When I'm dealing with scumbags and all.
They're horrible.
Most people, I was in Detroit. I was in downtown Detroit a couple months ago with my wife, and we had this obese lady pulling one of those like wagons.
Live restricted. No. Submit feedback.
She had 3 dogs in the wagon, and then she had 3 kids with her, and her kids were obese and fat. And she came up to me and my wife asking if we could give her some money to get a meal, get some food or whatever, because they didn't have any money to eat. And I'm looking, me and my wife look at each other like, wait a minute, you got fat ass kids, fat ass dogs, and your fat ass is paying for money for a meal, bro. And then I was like, yo, I don't have any cash. She was like, oh, I got cash, and pulls out a fucking $1,000 iPhone fucking Pro Max, bro. I was like, you can't make this shit up.
I'm from Los Angeles, dog. Being homeless is a hustle. A lot of the people who are homeless, believe it or not, are anarchists like Bima, right? They just they don't want to live by the rules of society.
You don't know what an anarchist is. Only what you've been taught, trained, and indoctrinated to believe.
They don't want to do anything
from your public education system.
They've given up on the system. They're conspiracy theorists. You know, they're big weirdos a lot of times, right? They're drug addicts. They're alcoholics. They're lazy. They don't want to work, right? They just given up on everything, right? I've talked to these. I've said them. I mean, my uncle, he was one of those bleeding hearts, right? Okay, so every single weekend we had to pack lunches and go down there to downtown LA, right, and feed at least 30 to 40 homeless people, right? We'll go down there every weekend for years, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, he met a lot of good people as far as homeless people goes, because he ended up needing a kidney, right? And Blackie, which is one of the homeless guys down there, a fat homeless guy, white guy named California, right? They volunteered their kidney for potentially from Uncle. Now, of course, they weren't donor matches at all, right? So he couldn't get it from him, right? But they did offer up their kidney after all these years of my uncle helping them, right? Okay? And I realized one fucking thing.
Your uncle just a kidney harvester, man. He running a kidney harvesting scam.
They were able-bodied adults, and they were sitting there fat and homeless in their tents with a whole bunch of shit. Right? They were enabled to be fat and homeless by the government.
Bruh, I was in LA on a skate trip.
It was like 300.
Uncle Ruckus, aren't you fucking fat? Who the fuck are you to call these people fat? You fat.
John does this right here. They're fat homeless. They are fat and homeless, right? They were fat and homeless for 4 years. They had California had a tent. He had a fuck ton of shit in his fucking tent. He was fat as hell. He had 3 cell phones.
Is this projection? Is this projection?
Boxes. He was living lavish in this little tent, right? And everybody was giving him shit all the time and everything. And that's how most of the old people were living. Like, come on, dog. Like, you went out there to...
You make it sound like it's so great because he has shit in his tent.
The moral of the story is it's not that bad.
It was useless because you're a status bootlicker, and I'll explain, okay? I'll explain how we can draw the comparison. You feel, because you like to be a slave, right? I guess maybe it could be in your blood, I don't know. But apparently you like it, okay? Yeah. Hold on. No, I'm just saying. We already know the psychological trauma. Listen, the truth hurts. The truth hurts. And maybe you can come to the light. Maybe you'll be able to come to the light. Let me finish. Maybe you'll be able to come to the light. I'm trying to deprogram you. You think you want to be. Hold on. No. I'm saying deprogram you. I'm saying that you have been programmed. I'm saying that if you think I'm more freedom loving than you do. You are a statist. No. I'm not a statist. No, I'm not a liberal. I don't believe in slavery. Clearly you do. Because how is it that a man that could have gone with his uncle and fed the homeless for so many years actually say that, oh, do you know what? It's you guys didn't do anything. You should have. Yeah, what we were doing is we weren't going to reduce ourselves to asking for allowances to show compassion. But apparently you want to do that. You don't mind jumping through the states because you are a slave. You like to jump through. You have no problem jumping through the state silly hoops to pay for permission to feed homeless people who are largely, they have mental illness and all of the other drug addiction, okay, right? So maybe you are okay with the slavery of having to jump through the hoops and pay permission to feed the homeless, but no, we, and it's interesting. It's very interesting that people like you who actually lived the life of going to feed homeless people would even say to be like, hold on, wait a second, you see that we're not even on the same side. That's the slavery mentality that you've been taught to indoctrinate to believe. It's sad. But it's the truth. Listen, I was fooled by the white supremacist system for a long time too. But once I open my eyes to it, I'll no longer go back. There's no way you can't go back, Uncle Ruckus. Once you see the truth and you see the light, and we understand that we're not slaves, that we're free agents to live and to abide by our own consenting doctrine of non-aggression and just peaceful coexistence and voluntary exchange. We don't need the slave master to dictate our interactions anymore. So maybe someday you'll come around and you'll see that the white supremacist system got you. It got you. As Kanye would say, gotcha. It got you. You were born and you put on those white supremacist glasses, and now you're upholding the white supremacist system, right? And ironically, you're looking at me and saying that I'm the problem, right? Because I'm saying, hey, look, we've exposed the white supremacist system. We're gonna shut shut it down. We don't need the slavery anymore.
Homeless encampment.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. White trailer.
Go ahead, Uncle Ruckus. Continue to lick the white man's boot.
You've never accomplished in your life, your whole bloodline.
Go ahead and continue to lick the white man's boot. Apparently you like it down there. You like, there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it.
You didn't come from greatness. You didn't come from greatness.
Hold on. Whoever said that I did? I came from nothing. I'm no, but that is true. That's true. That two things could be true at once. Uncle Ruckus, two things can be true at once. But you know one thing I'm not? I'm not a white supremacist. And I'm not a man that's gonna participate in the system and uphold white supremacy. Okay, that's another thing I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna actually reject once I saw the light and saw systemic oppression. You can't go back to it. You're gonna have to be, I don't know, you have to be, this is gonna be a long deprogramming.
But Bima, this is the dumb shit we're talking about. You're upholding white supremacy by being on your cell phone right now. It was white people that went to those other countries and enslaved those that fucking garnered the slave labor and the labor on the backs of underprivileged people, Bima. So any technology used, any type of rechargeable batteries, you're upholding white supremacy by purchasing those products.
Yeah, that's just
all of these fucking bulls and red bulls. She hates black people.
Stupid bitch.
She only likes the niggas that agree with her. Bima's a hypocrite. That's why I hate these
She's a dumb bitch, obviously, nigga.
liberal bitches.
I don't know why you keep saying liberal, Uncle Ruckus. I'm not a liberal. Why do you keep saying liberal?
I'm gonna save the world, but fuck you niggas that don't agree with me.
Tell me one
Why don't you
position.
agree with me,
I'm
nigga?
sorry that you have a slave mentality. I'm sorry that you like your slavery. I'm sorry that you like your slavery. There's nothing I can do about that.
Nobody has a fucking slave mentality. People like
You got an Android or iPhone,
we speak like this every single day. It's a horrible
Bima
thing.
got a dick in her pussy phone.
It's like
She needs to get a dick in her. That's why she's so tight.
Bima, you got an Android or an iPhone.
Literally things that she's like better
If
than
you got an
anybody else.
Android, Bima, 9 times
Nobody
out of
cares.
10,
You're all the
you're
way.
upholding Asian supremacy. And then if you got an iPhone, you're definitely upholding white supremacy.
Bro, she's like fucking overweight
Steve
and
Jobs and Tim
talking about
Cook
like black supremacy.
are
Shut
two
the fuck
white
up.
guys that
Nobody
went
cares.
over to China and have horrible working conditions. Pretty much those workers in that factory are enslaved, Bima. They don't have fair working conditions. They're working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, forced to live on those little shitty apartments that you can barely touch. You barely have room to turn around and breathe in. They're being forced to the tune, Bima, that those factory workers for the iPhone were hurling themselves off of the building to kill themselves because the conditions were
I
so
miss
bad.
the old school white guys that would have bitches like Bima in a brothel somewhere. They would have that bitch pregnant in the kitchen somewhere, right? I like the old school white guys that didn't let this bitch vote. You feel me? Those white dudes were the shit, right? These new school white guys are weak as fuck, right?
You're confusing the white supremacism with global,
like Ronald
potentially
Reagan did
poor
on one TV show.
and fucked up labor. You see what I'm saying? Right? It's not, listen, me owning an iPhone doesn't automatically mean that I'm upholding white supremacy, literature, and pride. What it can mean is that I'm participating in a global economy where fucking supply chains, labor conditions, all of this other shit often, are hold on. All of this shit that's bad, okay, but what I'm saying is participation isn't the same thing as endorsement, okay? I'm literally saying, oh, look, hold on, this is a problem, we shouldn't be doing this, and you guys are saying, no, it's okay, everything's perfectly fine. Most people can't realistically opt out of modern tech without losing access to whatever the hell that they're doing, work, education, healthcare, whatever. Hold on.
Yeah, but
so that's exactly what structural critique points to. The system is designed so that opting out is costly, okay? So if you want a serious argument, don't say to, oh, look, gotcha, moral theater, oh, look, you're using an iPhone, right? Why don't you ask the real questions? Who owns the platforms that are going to capture these profits? Who are the biggest players? Who are the lowest and into the supply chains, okay? Because they're completely different.
Steve Jobs and Tim Cook are white, Bima, so whenever, and the only way they can do it is by people like you who keep paying for this shit and giving them more money to be able to do it. If you stopped if you stop buying the iPhone, then you wouldn't allow Tim Cook and Steve Jobs, who are both white, to take their company and go over to China and cruelly brutalize these people with unfair labor practices, Bima. That's the reason why they went over there to these countries, because they understood they can enslave these people and force them to work in unhuman-like conditions. They can't do that here in the United States. Those are two white people.
Bitches like Bima want cheap goods on Temu, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Bima, you can't. Look, you got to pick one. Either your cause is so worthy that you truly believe in it, you'll sacrifice, Bima. But it sounds like you're not even willing to sacrifice.
See, that's a category, or that's a logical fallacy, and that's exactly what I said. Being inside the participation. Hold on. No. You're frustrated. That's why you're not letting me talk, because participation, like I said, it's not. No, it's not. It isn't the same thing. It's not. I'm inside the system, and you're inside the system, right? We both are inside the system. The question is whether are you going to stand up and say, "Hey, look, this is bad. Let's change it," or you're going to say, "Nothing matters. Everything's fine. This is the system that we got. If you don't like it, leave."
What have you done to change it, Bima, besides fucking nothing?
Yeah. I showed you that, and you know what? That wasn't good enough for you.
Nothing.
Oh, look. You showed up with a bunch of things. The point was, again, feed the need, right? Nothing will ever be good for somebody like you because you're just dishonest. The principled reason why we do things like feed the need is because we don't believe. Is because we believe that we don't need to pay other people and go through silly hoops and follow code by some arbitrary authority to participate in free exchange of free people, okay?
Doesn't believe in fighting.
Yeah, all that word salad.
Talking about fighting.
It's word salad. It's only word salad if you don't understand what I'm talking about. That's what voluntarism is. That's what voluntarism is.
A bunch of fancy words.
They're not fancy words. Hold on. Listen, if you don't like how I said it, then maybe I mean, like, why is it fancy? How can I dumb down what I just said?
At the end of the day,
how can I dumb down what I just said for you?
At the end of the day,
now he's another dumb black guy.
No. He said that they're fancy words. So I'm assuming if they're not, how do I make unfancy? How can I unfancily say that free exchange, right? The free exchange of voluntary consenting individuals. How else can I say that unfancy?
Outside of all those fancy words and terminology.
That's what I'm saying. Fancy words.
Long drawn out word salad. At the end of the day, you are feeding the monster you claim to hate. That's what it comes down to. You're feeding the monster you claim to hate, but you can't claim you hate the monster and continue to
feed it. Bitches rights away. These bitches.
You just can't do it. It's hypocrisy. Uncle Ruckus is right. It's hypocrisy.
These bitches don't ever shut the fuck up. They need to get slapped. These dumb bitches nowadays.
Bring back the old school white guys. Right, I'm tired of you modern white men.
Straight out.
I'm tired of you guys. You guys no longer have a backbone.
Are you alright? Are you on are you doing drugs? Are you alcohol? What's going on? You like being an ankle biter?
I'm lying. Like every however it goes.
Yeah, we need to bring back that.
Oh my God, Brad, what's your issue? Who is this guy?
I'm not even calling you all these names, right? But the fact is, right? This is how I'm gonna say it right here, right? Okay. If you stand on the side, if you stand and watch oppression happen and do nothing, you have chosen the side of the oppression, right? Participate.
Which is what you're doing. You're saying that the white supremacist system in the United States, because you don't like it, right? That's what you're saying, Ruckus, not me.
Told me that it's in my blood to be a slave, right?
No, I said that. Hold on. I said psychologically, that's whatever.
I don't know why you think you're separate from white supremacy. You are the white supremacist.
Stupid bitch. You dumb liberal bitch. You stupid cracker liberal hoe. What a dumb fucking white cracker liberal.
Let me ask you a question, Beamer. What would you think?
Fucking annoying.
Well, hold on, Brad.
Fucking white liberals that act like they for black empowerment.
I'm not a liberal, Brad. I'm not a liberal. Why does everybody think I'm a liberal? Why does everybody think I'm a liberal? Can we figure that out? Why does everybody keep saying I'm a liberal? Why?
That's like me being a pig. That's like me being a pig, right? Hold on, Brad. That's like me being a pig, right? And I go ahead and put a wig on, right? And a set of glasses, right? And then I decide signs that I don't want to anymore, right? And I'm telling you, I walk outside and people are like, oh, that's a pig. How'd you know I'm a pig? Like, baby, that's you. That's you right now, Bima. Everything about you is liberal, except for you don't like the labels. You don't like labels. That's the liberal thing, not to like labels, Bima. You don't like being labeled. That's what liberals. That's liberals.
No. Okay, well then prove to me what positions that I have that are liberal. Go ahead.
You believe white supremacy is a thing, so that's number one. That's number one. Oh God.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure.
You're anti the government, right?
Okay, that's okay.
When I say anti-government, I'm not talking about like
libertarians are anti-government. Minarchists are anti-government. Liberals.
You really want to bring down the whole nation. That's exactly what liberals want to do. You guys are Marxists.
Yeah. Voluntarists and minarchists and libertarians also true, but that doesn't make them liberals. Very different ideology. One wants more government, right? Liberals textbook, right? Exactly. They want exactly. No, that's what a liberal is. Textbook, and that you learn this in college. Liberals are someone who wants more government.
I didn't have time to explain it, but I kind of get the concept.
So show me where I want more government in anything that I'm talking about.
You guys are anti-ICE. You just want a law enforcement to die.
Well, that would be aligned with not a liberal principle, right? I'm saying that I don't want more government, right? Liberals want more government for solutions. So explain to me what position I have that says I want any government. You could give me one position. Give me one position. No. I'm saying, no.
You only want the government.
You have to prove where I want government in anything.
You want the government to feed the homeless and take care of them.
No, that's not true. I do not. I absolutely do not. That's an assumption. So go on. That's okay. So I've corrected your course. I've corrected your bad assumption. Uncle Ruckus. I do not want the government. Uncle Ruckus. I do not want the government to feed the homeless. Uncle Ruckus. I do not want the government to feed the homeless. I do not want the government to give everybody universal health care. I do not want the government to do anything to have any type of social system. I do not want the government to do any of that. What's your next point?
Yes, you do. It is what it is.
My next point is like.
Oh, okay. So now you're just going to be intellectually dishonest. All right.
No, because what do you want? Okay, Dima. What do you want to happen to the homeless? What's your
My next one is like, why don't you?
No. Let's go ahead and see what her big grand solution is for the homeless. What do you ultimately want the homeless? What do you want to happen to the homeless, Dima?
Free market solutions. All free market solutions.
How do you propose that the homeless can help?
Well, maybe feed the need. Feed the need can come out. They can feed. They can offer resources. They can assess people who have mental health issues, people who actually want jobs, separate the differences, people who have drug addictions, and then find free market solutions to help them out. Oh, wow.
That's what I mean, Sig. She wants the government. You get what I'm saying? She's not going to say it, though.
Guess what? You'll never hear me say, Uncle Ruckus, I'm sorry to bust your bubble. No, sorry, honey. I'm sorry you're going to be disappointed. Nobody on this app ever, nobody on this app has ever heard me endorse anything for government. And no, I've been on this app for 2 years. You find one person that's ever heard me say,
you just mentioned requires government.
No, free market does not require. It's the complete opposite. The complete opposite. Feed the need is free market. Feed the need is free market, okay? Nothing to do with government at all. Nothing. No redistribution of wealth.
She only gave that fucking answer just because she wanted to try to put it out there.
Uncle Ruckus, real quick. So no, she's actually right, Uncle Ruckus, because a lot of conservatives believe in community charity and the government not stepping in and not using taxpayer dollars, but putting that responsibility on the local communities to take care of their local problems. So one of the things that's been proposed is the homeless topic, that the government, because look at all the money that's been wasted on all these homeless prevention projects, like especially with Los Angeles. They just wasted so much money, and the homeless problem's actually gotten worse with the more money they dumped in to try to solve that problem. So people are saying, fuck using taxpayer money. The people in the local community can handle that problem, and they can fund it themselves by local fundraising and things like that without government intervention. But I had a question for you, Bima. What would you think if I went on a campaign saying, I can't stand Walmart, how they open up these big box stores, shut down these mom and pop businesses, and then they close up the stores and move out as soon as the workers try to establish a union to get better wages and better working conditions. And then they leave these small towns desolate because that was the main employer in that small town. So all the mom and pop shops closed up. Walmart employed a bunch of people, packed up shop, left, and now that town is destitute because of Walmart leaving, setting up and leaving. So I can't stand Walmart because of that, because it ruins communities. But every time I turn around, you see me at Walmart spending money and going shopping. What would you think about that?
Well, two things, right? Like I said earlier, that sometimes our time, circumstance, and location make it impossible or make it very difficult. We're coerced, things are unavoidable or bad options for us, cost benefit wise, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not something that we would want to shut down, because it's not as simple as not going to one Walmart and having it shut down. The issue with Walmart being able to be the conglomerate and the monopoly that it became was through the patent system and through what Walmart was able to do with government protections that allowed, nobody wants to hear this, but that's how Walmart became what it became. So if you have an issue with Walmart, you really don't have an issue with Walmart. You again have the issue with government once again. So my point is that it's the principle, what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but it's false, right? Because like I said, participation, sometimes, like I said, it's unavoidable, right? So it's a false dilemma. That's the best way I could say it, right? So like taxation and things, okay? I'm in a survival, I'm in what is it called? What is it called when you're, I forgot the name that starts with an S. When if I have you at the end of my gun, what are you? You are what? You are my what? My you're in a survivalist position, but you're what?
At the end of your gun.
Yeah, like if I'm coercing you with my gun, right? What are you? I don't know the word. I can't think of the word. Fuck. But anyway, the point is that you're in a survivalist position. When the cops come and they do the things that they do to me, I don't say, okay, babe, let's just fucking strike out and get ourselves killed, right? It's because we have to survive, right? We're in a, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. I can't believe I can't think of the word. Hostage. You're in a hostage situation. So you comply, right? And there's going to be a time where, okay, yeah, for life, cost benefit. I mean, like, do we want to die right now for this? And it's not going to mean anything, because guess what? It's going to go onto the media, just like we've seen what happened to everybody else. And look at Leonard Cure. People watch Leonard Cure and they still will think that it somehow Leonard Cure was the problem in that scenario. Oh, because he didn't comply. Okay, a guy got convicted, wrongly convicted, spent 15 years in prison, got pulled over for doing 100 on the highway, something that millions of people do every single day. Okay, and then an officer was going to arrest him. Okay, he even said, I haven't harmed anybody, just give me a ticket. Okay, and the officer still escalated that and murdered that man. But is that murder? No, because people don't want to. That's my point. And you know what? Everybody else looks, because you can't have the explanation, right? Leonard isn't there to defend himself now and to show everybody and to make awareness, right? Look, Leonard is. So my point is that when we're in hostage situations, we have to start with the Socratic dialogue. It all comes back to the Socratic dialogue. But I do understand what you're saying. And a lot of time, because that was a lot of my vegan argument with a lot of people when I had gone ethical vegan years ago, right? The idea is was I more against animal agriculture and the way that we treat animal agriculture, or was I more of policing people on how they ate, which could help them, physiologically with their cells, what foods interact with their body to make them function as a maximum human being. Okay, and the idea is that we were poor. You can't feed into the system. You can't continue to pay for more animals to be killed, and then also stand up against animal agriculture. I mean, like there is a contradiction, and I would be a fucking inconsistent hypocrite, but at the same time, the idea is to bring awareness so we can have the dialogue to change it. Like I said before,
Yeah, but I mean, in order to change it, though, like I said, the only way these entities exist is because we keep giving them money, Bima. So if You know, like I said, the first place to start would be to stop feeding the monster, stop giving the monster money to keep it growing. And then you can have that conversation and people say, okay, well, if BMO found a way to stop, I can find a way to stop. And then
the biggest monster isn't the companies, though, in my opinion. The biggest, and that's where
how do these companies survive, BMO? The only way they survive is because we keep giving them money.
Because of taxation, because of government, because of authority. That's my opinion. So I would say stop giving them money, remove yourself, and remove your productive ability from anything that's to do with government, right? You're complicit in the system of governance. And I understand your argument. I do understand your argument, true. But it's impossible. It's largely impossible, or at least it would be at a big detriment to me to not have things that could make my life better, unfortunately, right? Or at least not harm people around me, and then also continue to speak out, right? What's the point of that? You can't. I mean, sometimes I do understand what you're saying, though. It is a really good point, though. It is a good point.
Well, but that's where I'm trying to, because that's the point Uncle Ruckus is making, and that's what he's saying in Armchair Activist is all you're doing is talking, but your actions aren't conducive to what your speech is, and that's the problem people are going to have. Like, and maybe
I sat here and listened long enough to everything, right? Okay, and again, she's dancing around it simply because I called her out on her bullshit, right? But if you believe in free market solutions, a true free market allows for monopolies. U.S. gold rules, right? So therefore, without government stepping in, sometimes you would have a lot more fucking monopolies, right? Because if I have the money and I can corner a fucking market, I'm going to do so, right? I'm going to, and if I want to keep on expanding that, and I have the money to do so, nobody else has the money to do so, I'm going to keep doing that, right? That's true free market. True free market that's unregulated is something you'd hate more than what we have now, right?
Yeah, well, do your research on Rockefeller. Right. He's the reason why antitrust laws came into effect. Do your research on the Rockefeller business model, man. Yeah, no, Uncle Ruckus is right. Yeah, government is useful in some ways because if government didn't step in, I mean, not that they did much the way Rockefeller structured his business. But I mean, they did step in to break up. Rockefeller would have everything you see today would have had Rockefeller's name on it if the government had stepped in and broke that shit up.
I mean, it's like this right here, right? Okay, when you look at an actual free market, like right now, right? Capitalism is private means of production. In simple terms, right? Socialism or communism is state means of control of production, right? That's the only big difference there, right? Okay, we live in a capitalistic society, right, which is why things are privately owned, right? Okay, so now when you have things that are privately owned by private people or a collection of private people, right? Okay, then they're going to do what the fuck they're going to petition these governments. They're going to lobby these governments to be able to get what the fuck they want out of them, right? Because that's what the government is for to, when you're doing business, right? 100%. So there's no way we're going to sit there and say that we're anti-capitalism while still benefiting off of capitalism. Makes no sense. And that's why I'm saying most of you said you were ethical vegan. That's liberal. Almost all your points are liberal, but you're going to sit here and say that you're not, and you're going to keep on. You even recognize the contradiction in your argument that you were trying to make right now, right? Because you knew that you were dancing around the shit because you knew that I was calling you out on your bullshit already. That's why I called you out on that. That's why everybody else calls you out on that. That's why I said you're a liberal, because you actually are, right? You're not anti-government, you're pro-government, but you're just trying to paint yourself as anti-government. Because if you're a true anarchist, which I know plenty of those guys, they've gotten a plot in the fucking woods somewhere and they live off grid. They don't pay taxes, they don't do none of that shit. There's a whole community of people in California that have done the same shit, right? They went out in the desert and said, fuck you to everybody, right? That's what they did. So therefore, don't sit there and try to tell me that you're an anarchist and against all this, because they live without all
you don't know me.
Right? They live without all these amenities that you like.
Yeah, he's got a point on that one.
Yeah, no, that's not true. That's not true.
But it is true. The anarchists literally have separated themselves from society, and they said, "Fuck."
Hold on. I know the biggest anarchist in the entire world. Okay, tell me one. Name one. Name one.
I don't know them by name, but I've seen the groups beam up.
Guarantee you, if you've seen the groups, the biggest anarchists, you absolutely have seen me. You've absolutely actually seen me, whether it's on YouTube or whether it was in the series on TV.
Do you live in an apartment or a house?
Guaranteed it. Okay, guaranteed.
A serious question. Do you live in an apartment or a house right now?
I live in a house.
Live in a house. Do you own the house or are you renting?
Own the house outright.
You own the house outright, right?
Built it from the scratch, yeah.
Pay taxes on that house
every year, correct?
Every year.
Of course I have to. I'm forced. I'm coerced because if I don't, hold on. That's not true. There's 3 very big, large anarchist communities, intentional anarchist communities in this country. 3. All 3 of them pay the land tax. We have to, okay? We have to, because if we don't, what happens? What happens? Does anybody know? What happens if you don't? No. What happens if year 1, if you don't pay taxes? What happens? No. What happens?
The government comes to take your house, but a person.
Oh, what does the government do, Sig?
They take your house, but here's the thing.
Right.
You've had plenty of motherfuckers. Look at Kitover, for instance. Okay, that's a true anarchist. All right, that motherfucker went through with that bulldozer and leveled that fucking town and died doing it. So if you were truly stood by what you believed, you'd say, fuck you, I'm not paying taxes. Try to come and take my house, I'm gonna light all you motherfuckers up. I'm gonna die trying. That's a true anarchist, Bima.
Yeah, unfortunately, if I was by myself, I wouldn't have any problem doing that. And that's exactly what I eventually will probably get to. Okay, I don't know who you. I've already been and started this entire thing. I lived in an essential community. I created one in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, in 2016 with a bunch of other anarchists and with a bunch of. Oh, because my mom and dad are dying and my grandmother needs help. That's why. I'm fucking taking care of a family that's literally dead and dying. That's why. That's why. That's fucking why, Sig. That's why. Okay, because I have to take care of my mom and my dad and my grandmother. What the fuck?
So, Bima, why didn't you move them out there with you into that commune?
Because they don't want to go. They grew up here their entire life. This is where they want to be.
Do you have a job?
Yes, I have a job.
Okay, so you work. Do you work for a big corporation?
Absolutely not.
I mean, well, regardless of who you work for, like I'm pretty sure that they are somehow paying taxes to the government as well, right? They filed their paperwork. This goes back to
Sig knows. Tell him how I pay taxes, Sig. And you know what? I wouldn't even get into this details with you guys.
You don't even have to.
You know what? You guys are dangerous. You guys are dangerous because you know what? You guys are dangerous because you're such bootlickers. If I actually told you the truth and I actually let you know what happens, people are so sick that they'd go as far as finding my business and then make sure that they can fucking set right. Oh yeah. And I'm just gonna fucking believe you. I'm gonna believe a bootleg.
I don't really care if you believe it or not.
Okay, whatever. Okay, well, I'm not gonna prove. I don't have to prove myself. I don't have to prove myself. The people who know me know me. Uncle Ruckus, I don't care. I don't care what you think. You're a bootlicker. You're telling me that I want government intervention. I don't want government intervention in anything. Okay. You don't even believe that the free market can exist without government. That's a sick mentality. That's a sick mentality.
The house that you own outright. You're going to work every day trading time for money, right? You feel me? To get those white faces that you hate so much that the government prints out, right? Okay, you're going to the supermarkets to buy your meats and your cheeses and your milks.
Why do you? It's such a bad idea to presume you know. It's such a bad idea to presume you know. Do you know you're just making up a story about my life? Do you understand how that's not rational? Do you understand how that's not rational?
Everybody else in society does, right?
Uncle Ruckus, do you understand how that's not rational? Because you don't know anything about how I live. You don't know anything about what you don't know nothing. You're just filling in the gaps. I could do the same thing about you. It's not a rational position. You need to come back down. You need to come back down to the real world. You need to come back down to the real world. Your presumptions and assumptions, they're nothing, Uncle Ruckus. They're irrational. They're illogical. It's literally insanity. It's insanity to pretend like you know.
Did you make the stance? You just said free market can't exist without the government. C-A-N?
The free market can exist without government? Of course. What do you mean?
That I would be the new government if I was a free market. I would own everything and enslave people like you.
The only way that would happen, is if you decided to use a monopoly of force. Okay, if you had force, and you would have to right. So then you would have to use force. Then you'd have to enslave everybody. Okay, and in that case,
the free market is exactly what I do.
Okay, but first, everybody else is going to have to put their dollars, like you said, the voting dollars. They're going to have to continue to participate to help you get. Hold on.
Yeah, are you familiar
I'm not saying ballot voting. I'm saying voting with your dollars. That's in a free market. You vote with your dollars. So you're saying that everybody is going to know that you're going to come and enslave us, and we're going to continue to buy from you. So you can. That doesn't make sense. That's it. It's crazy.
You familiar with Rockefeller's empire and that whole ordeal? That's why I brought that up as an example, because that was an example of free market, and Rockefeller literally owned every single dollar, was in control of every single dollar, like the way he built his empire. So there was no voting with your dollar. Like, it was either Rockefeller's way or nobody's way. That's why the government had to step in. He literally drove He literally started off refining oil, and then he bought the barrel making companies, and he bought the transportation companies, and he bought the fucking refineries. Like, he vertically scaled his company up to where he owned every fucking thing and pushed everybody out. He literally owned everything. He owned every single fucking dollar. And that's why the government had to come in and bust him up, because he would have ended up owning everything. He would have been more powerful than the government, Bima. So they had to come in and fucking and cut that shit out, cut that shit down. That's a true free market without government. Literally everything would say Rockefeller on it right now if it wasn't for the government stepping in and breaking that up, because of how he scaled his business.
That's not true. Because that's not true. It's not true because everybody knows that in economics that you have a bell curve. There will be a peak. Just there has been in the history of every type of company, right? You cannot, because there might have been a monopoly for a short time, but it would have fallen. There is no case there because that's an economic principle. That is the bell curve principle of the bell curve.
Either the government or people take up arms and physically take over.
You're not listening to me.
That's what I'm asking you. How else? Because there's only two methods that we've seen in history. Either the government steps in and regulates, right? Or people get sick. Because once we've seen people get power like that, monopolize everything, and then they end up actually becoming the government entity because they become so powerful, they control literally everything. The people who are subjugated rise up. So now you either got the government stepping in and breaking it up, or there's going to be bloodshed to revolt. Those are the only two options you got, Bima. What other options do you have besides that?
People are not going to participate in their own slavery willingly. It just won't happen. Would you do that?
We've seen it happen time and time again with socialist countries, Bima. And the only option was when people revolted to break that shit up. But they were treated like shit, subjugated, and treated like slaves because you had one entity take control of everything. We've seen it. This is history, like literally repeating itself with almost every single fucking civilization that's existed. And the people on the bottom end up fucking revolting, and then that's how that monopoly gets brought back down. So there's only two ways. You have the government break it up, or there's going to be bloodshed. Those are the only two ways we've seen.
That's because you're still assuming that there's government participation. You immediately gave me an example of socialist societies where there's government intervention. I'm talking about free market, actual free market, where people are going to vote, where the economic principles say that it is impossible. There's been no time in history where any company has been able to be on top for forever. It's just because it just doesn't happen. Whoever builds the company, right? They're going to end up dying, and you learn all about this in economics. Then the vision changes, right? And then there's different entries. There's better entry into the market, into that competition, into that field of whatever it's going to be. Then so there's going to be new competitive levels, right? There's going to be all of the things.
There's not going to be any of that. It's going to be monopolized.
Like that's what I asked you about Rockefeller. That's one of the most contemporary examples we have. He bought the competition out. There was no competition. That's why the government had to step in. He literally
yes.
all the competition.
What I'm saying that hold on. What I'm saying is
Bima, it's going to boil down to kings and warlords in a free fucking market. This is exactly how it's going to be. Because you got to realize, right? respectfully, it's eat or be eaten in that type of society, right? It's predator and prey. And people like me, respectfully, I'm going to be the predator over the prey, right? I'd rather be the shooter than the one shot, right? So therefore, I'm pretty sure there's somebody that's more brutal than me, right? That's more capable than me, that's going to 100% monopolize the shit out of everything and control the means of production. And once you control the means of production and you have to go through me to get what you need, right? It's either you bend the fucking knee, right? Or we don't do business, or if I'm really brutal, I just get rid of you.
But you have to understand that Rockefeller still, he doesn't just, resources just don't come out of his ass and he just doesn't manifest them.
Yeah, I don't take them.
Right, he would have, well, that's different. That's different than free market, because now we're getting back into not free market, now we're getting back into tyranny, right? Free market
That's
is
exactly what free market leads to.
Yeah, free market leads to tyranny. That's exactly what the Rockefeller story being.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. It was free market, and because he was able to strategize.
So Rockefeller was stealing? Rockefeller was stealing?
1,000,000%. He did a lot of fucking shady shit to do that. You think people just willingly handed over their...
Who was he stealing from? I haven't heard of this.
I'll give you an example. So when he was, he started off fucking digging up for the oil and realized, hey, there's more money to be made. Okay? So he said, hey, this oil, after we dig it up, has to go in the fucking barrels, right? And get shipped. So he says, fuck it, I'm going to make enough money and I'm going to buy the barreling company. That way it's going to be cheaper for me. And then I can charge all the other places that are digging up crude oil. I can charge them higher for the barreling, and it's going to be cheaper for me and it's going to be higher for them. And he ran them out of business. So then he took over those. And then he got the transportation industry. He said, why am I paying these trucks and to run this shit back and forth when I can just buy up all the trucking and logistics supplies? And then the other companies that were still in existence, he charged them crazy ass rates to drive them out of business, and he took over all that. That's literally how he scaled his company, by taking over and outpricing all the competition, and he became the number one dog as far as oil refineries. And then he bought up all the oil refineries after that.
So, but those people sold him. They voluntarily.
They had no choice, Bima. They were going to go out of business. They had no choice.
Okay, and so then that's just a testament that it wasn't harming society that much. And they weren't to that point where they had to say, hold on, we need to get together. You think that the world or even a nation came together and said, hey, look, this guy is starting to buy stuff up. We have to make sure we don't sell to him. Otherwise, he's going to, put us all out of business. That doesn't even make sense for them to say, no, we're going to continue to sell to him.
They had no choice. It was either that or pay the crazy ass rates to barrel and transport the shit, which they couldn't afford. That would eat up all their profits. So they're pretty much turning oil for nothing.
Yeah, I'm not saying that in their poor business models or whatever that they were doing didn't work at the time. Yeah, sure, probably. But I'm saying that overall cost benefit was still in their favor. If they were able to sell out, then it was still in their favor. You're not going to sell out if it's not in your favor.
You have no choice. If you and I are in competition, right? Let's say we're in the same thing. Both of us are digging up crude oil, right? And I'm paying another company to barrel it, and Bima Oil Inc. says, fuck it, I'm buying up the barreling company. So the only way you can barrel your oil that you dig up, Sig Oil Incorporated, is to go through me now, go through Bima, because Bima owns it. Bima, you're going to, instead of me paying what I was paying, maybe 20 cents a barrel, you're going to start charging me $2 a barrel. There goes all my profit. I'm not in business, so I got two options. Either run my business into the ground, not making a profit, and I lose everything, or I go ahead and just sell it outright to you and at least have a little bit of profit.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It was a poor business model. These were people that couldn't figure out how to partner with other people that come together with a bunch of other little guys like that, and then and make sure that you cut out Rockefeller and you don't do business with him. It was in their favor to do it until they reached that point that it was not in their favor because they were individually and poor business models, and then that was it. But if it came to a societal level, of course, no, you're not going to pay into something that's destroying your society.
But that's the thing. It happened because people didn't realize that business model. Nobody had ever seen that business model before. He created it, and by the time they realized what had happened, it was too late. He bought up everything.
Right, Right, yeah, and that's true because we didn't have technology, we didn't have the ability to network and to connect and show and have the possibilities that we have today. And that's what's also very important to consider. We have an ability now that we didn't have during Rockefeller's time to connect, to be able to explore and make sure that people aren't getting too much and becoming too big. And we all as individuals would be, okay, look, we're not going to make sure we...
AKA, we have a government.
Yeah, right. You understand?
Yeah, but the problem with the government, Uncle
We have a
Ruckus...
governmental body that does that. Well,
right,
wow.
but Uncle Ruckus, that's the problem, though, because the government they're an arbitrary power. The people that are in government are just our normal, fucking average dumb neighbors. Okay,
oh, so like the people you're talking about. So you said we have people that would ensure that this doesn't happen, and those normal, regular people that you think would ensure that it doesn't happen now work in government.
Hold on, no. But the difference is that those normal people get to create the thresholds and the boundaries by which they want to operate, right? And then they would be able to do those exchanges there. With the government makes those decisions, and that's my point.
But
it's not representative. It's not representative.
In a democracy or a republic that we live in, the government is the people. We vote for and elect these people.
Right.
It starts at the local level, right? If people are interested in that, the local level. And then from there, people work their way up, and then eventually we vote on a national election, right? Right? 100%. But there's a lot of moving parts to go into it, and all those people are regular fucking people that you may have went to school with, that you may have went to church with, that you may have played football and basketball and water polo with, right? 100%. Those are the people, right? So therefore, what you're advocating for and not even wanting to admit is exactly what you have now, even though you may not like the way it's going.
No, not at all. And that's exactly what I was just trying to say. The difference is us as, and Alan, I see that you're trying to talk. I'll just get this out. The difference is that the representative government was one of the biggest scams ever in the history, to think that you're actually being represented by a person or a couple people at different levels. These are individuals. The best that you could do is, even if you were to explicitly say, I want this person, and to say that they win, okay, the person that you choose, to say, I want them to represent me because I generally like their principles. So their principles are probably going to align with everything that's going to happen across any type of legislation, any type of positions that they're going to take. They're generally we're going to be in alignment, right? That's like best case scenario. But the fact is that it comes down to a two-party system. Because the best that we've come up with is first past the post, which is whoever has the biggest gang gets to win. So the 51% of America is always going to be able to force their preferences on the other 49%. That's how. So 49% is always going to be unrepresented at any given time. Sometimes, where if you're in a situation or a location where there's a Democratic stronghold or a Republican stronghold, depending on what you believe, right? You're effed for. There are some cities and states that have voted like that forever, locally, whatever else. And even if you can get somebody that you personally want to get into office, there's no guarantee that they're going to make all the decisions that you want them to make.
Bima, why do you just like start and blackmail? Why do you do that? I think it's a horrible thing.
Hold on, Alan was going to go. A-check, I'm sorry. I feel bad because I went a little. Wait, hold on. Alan was waiting. Please.
Horrible.
A-check, I apologize. Go ahead, Alan.
Well,
you gotta be kidding me. You just did that. Oh my God.
He was waiting, A-check, and I felt bad because I went longer than I should have, and Alan has been clicking his mic. Please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but A-check, sadly, somebody gave
Trust me, I don't want to hear what this status ass has to say.
I'm going to try and inhabit my good mod habits. So I'll just say this. I heard the tail end of this. So if I missed a point, forgive me. I don't think there's anybody here who can go to the track and predict who the winner and losers are going to be every time. When it comes to business, businesses can turn on a dime. Suddenly they're up. The next thing you know, they're filing for bankruptcy. The government should not be involved in picking winners and losers. Period. Because the moment you allow the government to do that, guess what? You open up the doors of corruption. Well, gee, Bobby here donated $10 million to my campaign, and Bobby owns a car company. So we're going to put in legislation that favors him, and we're going to say that all the other car companies can't compete. That's the problem with it. As far as what you said about the government, I agree politicians are crappy people. The way you know a politician is lying is if his mouth is moving. Having said that, that's why we have the separation of powers. Because the founding fathers, who were also historians, looked back at history and said, yeah, people have a tendency to be corrupt. So therefore, we are going to have the separation of powers. Yeah, maybe democracy sucks. Maybe representative government sucks. It's still better than other forms of government. Do you want to go to communism, where the state, where you have no rights but what the state tells you can have? I don't think so. Considering I know people who've lived under Soviet rule, it sucks. Either that, or we go under a monarchy. By the way, Sweden, that wonderful model of or is it Sweden or Switzerland, is still a monarchy. You know, it's I forget what that parliamentary monarchy, whatever it's called, but it's still a monarchy. Yeah, so this is as good as it gets. I mean, unless we're going to have 350 million converge on Washington, D.C. and decide everything that has to be decided. No. And then as far as, you know, you mentioned Rockefeller. He got rich because he provided a superior product that everybody wanted and everybody bought. Now, I'm not saying he was perfect, but he got really rich really quick because guess what? He was smarter than everybody else. Anyways, I've gone on a rant. I'm done. And now I've said my piece. Anybody can speak next, preferably Manfinity, because I like him.
I was going to say real quick, Beamer, too. You're talking about now we've got the technology and all that stuff. You understand Jeff Bezos is a modern day Rockefeller. And if you look up how many antitrust lawsuits they've been slapped with and lost because they tried pulling that sneaky bullshit, and the government had to step in, bro, and slap Jeff Bezos around quite a few times to keep him out of that position. So, I mean, it's no way you cut it, Beamer. We got so many examples, modern examples, that show government intervention did help. I'm not saying the government's an end-all, be-all, but you understand where we would be at if the antitrust laws in the FTC did not slap Jeff Bezos around when he needed to be slapped. We'd be fucked right now, Beamer.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. I'm not saying business is perfect either. Business will sell out your grandmother if they think they can get an extra buck out of it. But, you know, the other opposite end is no good either.
Yeah, so it's a healthy balance of government intervention and free market. But again, the people are the government. You know, the way the system was set up, we control the government. It's just we've gotten so lazy, so preoccupied with dumb shit that doesn't matter. We forgot that it's our job to keep the government in line and keep the government in check. And this is why shit's falling apart. It's on us for feeding these corporations and not cutting off the money flow when it needs to be cut off, right? And then it's our fault for not keeping tabs on the government the way our forefathers designed the system to allow us to. So at the end of the day, it all comes back down to the citizens, Bima. It comes down to our laziness and complacency and prioritizing convenience over moral and principle and sustainment. That's just what it comes down to. But you need a healthy mix of both.
Hey, Sig, don't blame me. I blame you, personally.
You can't blame the black man, Alan. Yeah.
No. It has nothing to do.
You can't blame black people.
well, no, it has nothing to do with that. I blame you personally.
But I'm still black.
And everyone else should blame you. Now, as far as the black men, I don't want to go there, but yeah.
Well, I'm blaming white supremacy. Is everything?
There you go.
Yes. I think people agree with me on that one.
Yes.
I mean,
are you white man, Alan? It's your fault.
It is my fault. And the fact that all that secret free white man money that the government gives us that we don't tell you about, that we don't share it nicely. So yeah, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Let me throw myself upon the sword.
It's okay, Alan. Don't feel left out.
No.
Believe that me and my ancestors should go back to slavery. It's part of my bloodline.
You're already in slavery, Uncle Ruckus. I'm trying to get you out of it.
I could be wrong here, right? Sig, did she not say that me being a slave was in my blood? Right? Did she not say that, though? Right? So she is a white supremacist.
Yes, I said that. Why? Hold on. Wait, Uncle Ruckus, why did I say that, though? Hold on. But give it context. Do you remember why I said it?
She denied being a liberal, but all of her talking points are still liberal. Now, she's going to try to walk that one back because she got caught in it. See, Bima, you're excellent at trying to talk yourself out of shit, right? You probably try to talk yourself out of a few tickets. Maybe it wasn't successful for you. Then you started hating the police when they wrote them to free. I get it. I know your personality type, right? So therefore, it's like you try to talk yourself out of shit because you talk yourself into a lot of shit, right? No issue. And I don't care, though. No problem. But you could be a white supremacist. You and Alan. Well, Alan's not white supremacist. But anyway, however it goes, right? You and all the white supremacists that you believe are white supremacists, you guys are all in cahoots. You're the same boat. So don't try to sit there and give me some philosophical bullshit about how we're all slaves when you don't even understand how the system works clearly because we sat here and listened to you speak. So I mean, it's all good. It was a joke anyways, even though you were being a serious racist for me. So let's go ahead and leave it alone.
No, I was dead serious. I was dead serious. I was dead serious. But impress me, Uncle Ruckus. Listen, wait. I let you finish.
I don't want to hear your explanation of your racism.
I'm not trying. Trust me. I don't want to give you an explanation. I want you to impress me. I want you to impress me. I want you to impress me and prove to me that you remember why I said it. Impress me and prove to me why. Impress me and tell us why I said it. Uncle Ruckus, do you remember why I said it? I guarantee you don't, because you want to be intellectually dishonest. You want to be intellectually dishonest and you want to run with the victim card. Guess what? It ain't me, baby. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to give it to you, and I'm not going to let you escape either. I'm not going to let you escape. Go ahead. Go.
Beeman, how do you feel about these allegations of racism?
She's a horrible person.
It's the allegations of racism. I've been called a racist before. It's not the first. It won't be the last. Oh yeah, of course I've been called a racist before.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yes.
You have like a psychological problem.
It's normal to
like me. I like darker than you. Or what do you call them?
Well, if you understand like the different types of racism, structural racism, interpersonal racism, there's all these different races. If you're born white into a system of white supremacy, you are by definition an agent of racism, right? Okay, but anyway, that's not my point. I'm not going to deflect. Beaver, to answer your question, I would love for Uncle Ruckus to be an intellectually honest person and tell us why I said that. Why did I say that to you, Uncle Ruckus?
Because I pissed you off, and you wanted to
No. Be specific. Be specific. Be specific.
That's the reason why.
Be specific. Be specific, Uncle Ruckus. Let's be honest.
Be Pacific.
That was specifically.
Did I say Pacific?
No, I'm telling you, you need to say Pacific.
I pissed you off because I'm black. I'm ignorant, right? So however it goes, right?
I do hold black men accountable that want to participate in the white supremacy. I do hold you accountable. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I do have a trigger for black men that can. Hold on. I do have. Hold on. I'm being honest. I particularly have I particularly have a pet peeve with
kid.
black men that have no problem saying, "Oh, everything's fine." Inside of the white supremacist, yes, I have an issue with
So
you.
a white
Yes, I
woman
do.
is telling me that
I
white
absolutely do.
I
I absolutely do.
Crazy.
People, specifically black men that want to perpetuate the system of white supremacy, I do have an issue with you. You are one of my biggest. You are one of my biggest pet peeves. I'll never understand it. Picking up the tool of the oppressor. Picking up the tool of the oppressor. And
he needs to learn something from her white ass.
And Ruckus.
I don't listen to you, black bitches.
Uncle Ruckus, can I send you a book?
Okay, you know
No,
what?
I can't read.
Guys,
Uncle Ruckus.
Does anyone have Uncle Ruckus? Uncle Ruckus, no, I'm dead serious. Can I send you a book?
No, I can't read either.
No, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious.
I can't read.
It's a book by Larkin Rose. I can send it to if someone else has your address in here, I can send it to them and they can forward it to you. And look in my bio, Uncle Ruckus, I want you to look at something. In my bio, there's a link, and it's called the Jones Plantation Film. These are this is my network of my people. This is the Jones Plantation Film. I would pay. I can give you. I'll cash up you the money right now if you watch that film. It's like $10. If you watch that and tell me what you think about it. All I want. I'll do it right now. If you promise to watch it, I'll cash up you the 10 right now, and all you gotta do is watch it, and then we just talk about it. That's it. That's all that I'll ask.
Don't
And I'll send you a book. It's by Larkin Rose, okay? Because I have a lot of them. I want boxes of them, and I give them out to people I care about. Okay, I will send you a brand new book, right? And send you this book. I'll put it in the mail tomorrow.
All right.
I don't care about none of y'all. I'm talking to Uncle Ruckus.
Speaking.
Uncle Ruckus.
Now I'm speaking to everybody, including Uncle Ruckus. I'm going to embody my 1990s, early 2000s left-wing hippie, new age self right now. And Uncle Ruckus, I'm sorry, but if slavery is in your DNA, you need to embrace your authentic self, which is a real thing. Because as you know, being authentic is the most truthful thing you can be. So if slavery
December 18th at 2:30 in the fucking morning, I never thought I'd see the day where white people are trying to lecture me about black racism and slavery.
That's right.
This is fucking crazy.
Wake it up.
Yes.
Wait, well, maybe you're not doing a good enough job, Uncle Ruckus.
Absolutely not.
The system is fine.
Absolutely not. I'm going to tell Alan and Bima the same shit. I don't need any lectures from you guys about anything to do with my
Yeah, but we're different because I'm not a statist. I'm not a statist.
You guys can be quiet about the subject.
Uncle Ruckus, will you watch the film?
Yo, Alan's trying to talk. Let Alan finish it.
Yeah, thank you. I can't yell over you guys.
I'm not going to sit here and let this fucking white man try to tell me about embracing slavery. No, dog.
Let Alan go.
You can't cool all the way out, dog. You got to hear something.
Uncle Ruckus, chill, man. Let Alan go, and then Incel's been waiting.
Yeah, but can Alan stop speaking to me about anything?
You can't control people speaking to you. Just mute up and don't respond.
I'm going to go ahead and keep speaking. Turn out the fucking room or I'll leave. They come out.
Uncle.
Man, tell me about fucking racism.
Uncle.
I don't give a fuck what you got to say, Alan. Just please leave it alone. Be mature enough to do that. I don't need to hear it.
Uncle
Keep me out the fucking room. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to listen to this guy. I will not give him the opportunity to speak to me. So I'm going to be interrupted.
Okay, there's your opportunity, Alan. You got it. And then Incel goes next.
Thank you. Uncle, you didn't let me finish to put the cap of sarcasm and irony on what I was saying. Okay? The idea, that Dima's trying to tell you to embrace your slavery DNA, in my opinion, is pretty ridiculous. And I was using that as an example to point out the idiocy of that idea. Now, maybe you agree with her, I don't know. But no, I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm trying to pretend to be someone on the left who has the audacity to lecture you about that. So that's what I was saying. Now, maybe there's still something wrong in what I said. Please come up and let me know what you think. Okay, I'm going to try. All right, well, now, there you go, invite to speak, okay? I hope I didn't offend you.
All right, and so you got the mic, man. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
What's up, Skull? Merry Christmas, yo. Merry Christmas, everybody in the group.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Beautiful. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I think government intervention is better. And actually, I'm a big proponent of like UBI. I think it's way better than believing in the free market, because we're never going to really have a free market. And if we do, it's going to get dominated by a few players. So it's like, why play this game of like trying to always push for a free market? Just let's get our $3,000 of UBI, and if you want to work more and you earn less than 80K, then yeah, go for it. But once you make above 80K, I don't feel like you deserve government help. Because only 20% of people, in my opinion, are productive in the economy. So let's just automate shit fast and let's collect our welfare checks, and let's actually enjoy life and work on our passion.
Yeah, but what if I don't want to pay for other people's income, bro? I don't want my money taken away from me and paying for other people who can't cut it, can't figure out a way to make more money. And so what do you got to say to that?
The reality is the most productive people in the economy are like 20%. So most people think they actually are, giving out their money to the government. A lot of people actually get their money back. Like the government doesn't use the money of like 50% of Americans. Like the other 50%, yeah, there is some they use, but it's mainly just 20% that's like funding the tax pool. So it's like, let's fund and support our most productive. Let's give them government help as much as possible. Let's let them get their freaking corporate welfare, and let's collect that $3,000 welfare, and let's acknowledge it. It's already happening. Why try to be delusional to the reality? Like, if you think your money shouldn't go there, so what? It already does go there. Like, what's next?
Yeah, but how much of it goes there? That's the point. That, I mean, I can be generous to a point, and I believe, there but for the grace of God go I. But at the same time, nobody likes being told what they are supposed to do, period. And maybe there are some who justify it, that, oh yes, I want to give to charity, and I want the government to do it. Great. You can do that. But most of us don't, and most people, if they earn $1, they want to keep $1. And they don't like being told, well, you have to give up 85% of it because Bobby and Billy over there don't want to work, as one example. So yeah, we're already doing it, but to what degree? That's the degree is the argument that we are having in the debate that is going on in government right now.
Yeah, the thing is, we're going to have oligarchs, and moving forward, we're going to have even bigger oligarchs. So let's actually fund them, put money into them, let them get corporate welfare. And most normies are just useless. They already work like useless mid-tier jobs. When a lot of jobs got automated, you might as well just pay people. Like, there's a lot of people in the economy right now that get gifts. It's not just baristas. There's guys in the military that get gifts. A lot of guys in the military don't deserve the paychecks they're getting, but they get gifts, through like a Patriot network. Their dad probably hooked them up. Like, a lot of people get gifts in different places of the economy. So let's acknowledge that, dude. Like, why are we LARPing? Like, what do you mean my tax money? You're not that important. Most of the money you put into the government, they give it back to your state. Like,
yeah, but I'm important enough for you to take money that I've worked hard for to earn, so I must be important enough. And so where you want to use my money, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't take my money and then call me not important.
Now we're getting cut. We're basically like we're not getting the good end of the straw. Like, if we're already gonna have corporate welfare, we are gonna bail out major corporations. There's nothing we can do about it. It's a reality.
But people have a problem with that, though. That's one of the.
What's your solution that you think is better?
Let's just have an honest system where the weak sink and the strong survive. And if you want to come up, you have to work your ass off and figure a way to do it. That's how it used to be in this country before government got involved and all this debt, this system built on debt and all this bullshit, man. It used to be straight dollar for dollar.
What year is this?
Shit, before the 1930s.
Do you know what type of America, dude, you're talking about a time where people were getting exploited. We're talking about freaking robber barons, and even the biggest free market proponents are putting regulations on these dudes. It doesn't work. You have to acknowledge the reality. We're gonna have these big techno oligarchs, and they have to exist for us to live a first world quality of life. We're not gonna have a dog eat dog world. We don't need that. How is it fair to have a dog eat dog world? We don't have the same IQ.
That's not my problem. You having a low IQ, you not being able to figure out how to put food on your table is not my problem. It's just not.
The reality it is, bro.
Okay, then cash at me $100 right now. Cash at me $100 right now so I can get groceries for me and my wife. Actually, $150. I got the baby now.
Dude, I make $2,000. I don't have a lot of money.
No. I don't care. No. Based on what you said, cash at me $150 right now. And if it's not that,
no, that's not what you're taking. That's not what I said.
Okay, then what are you trying to advocate?
I'm saying
all you're advocating is robbing one person, taking money out of their paycheck that they worked hard for, and helping somebody else out.
Yeah, but all right. I think you misunderstood what I said.
No, well, restate it then so I can understand, because I want to try to understand your point.
I don't think it's going to happen right now, but in 20 to 25 years, I think most jobs are going to be automated, and most people are going to be already on UBI, or the government has to create new jobs for these people to work in. And I feel like instead of trying to just push people to work jobs that they don't like and aren't that productive, I think people getting $3,000 a month is better, and then the rest of the money investing that into major corporations that can push us forward and our country forward. Let's give corporate welfare to our major corporations. They need it. That's the only way you can compete in the global economy. China does it for their companies. We already do it for our companies. Let's just give them a little bit more and let us get our welfare. And for the dudes that want to work, go work.
Look at you understand China's economy is a house of cards, bro. You understand their economy is failing right now. They got the big boost. They got the big boost from they got the big boost from overseas trading and commerce, and now they're running themselves into a rut. China has a horrible fucking economy right now.
They have issues in real estate, but they're still doing growth.
Wait, something slipped by that we all didn't catch, except for me. Why does the government have to do that? Can't businesses? It seems to me that, this may be a simplistic example, but when the automobile came along, there were a crap load of people working in stables who lost jobs, but then other jobs were created. Now we're sitting on the beginning of this AI revolution. We don't know what jobs are going to be created, but let's not, just have this knee-jerk reaction. The government has to save us. The government has to save us. No, maybe we can save ourselves, and maybe in the process of that, changing economy and changing technology, corporations, individuals using their creative abilities and incentivized by the promise of profit will discover other avenues of income for all of those useless people you're talking about. And the problem will be solved, not by some government dictating from the top down, but by individuals and dare I say it, diversity that individuals bring to the United States or any other country for that matter. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. I feel like I need to take a shower. Feel so unclean. But I think this is the problem with the left. It always wants the government to solve all our social and financial ills. And the government sometimes is equipped to do that, but often is the worst entity in which to solve those problems, especially when it comes to social ills. It has helped some. But remember, I grew up, and I'm sorry, I'll land on this. I grew up in the 60s. the wave of liberalism was supposed to solve it. It gave the promise of solving all of our social problems. And yet here we are 60 years later. And the same people who push this narrative are now saying that life is horrible, that 77 million people who voted for Trump are racist. And you have people like, is she even here? You have people saying that black people are still slaves in this day and age. Well, if that is true, if we accept that, then I think it's time to stop using government solutions and the solutions that liberalism proposed in the 1960s, because by their own admission, they failed. It's time for government to get out of all.
So Alan, you know,
no, actually, it's absolutely true. Like when you see it and stuff, like, well, you're like, these people, horrible what they're doing. Like, I think a lot of people don't understand. I think that maybe this will come up in the next 20, 30 years or something like that. Have you ever seen women and men with those SSRI eyes? They look demonic. They look terrible. Look Rob Reiner's son. He looks like horrible. He looks like a demon, you know, about to stab his own father. I think people like that need to wake up to whatever the hell is happening. These people look demonic, and they're sick people, and that's what happens. And every time I've like met a woman before that was like on this medication and all these pills, you know, they have those hands. I call them the crocodile hands. You know, they put their hands together when they're like doing it in front of their fucking car, like the video that they do. It's horrible. Like, these chicks are like overweight, clearly, fat, clearly. Nobody wants them. And then like put their hands together in front of their cars. It's like ridiculous. And it's like they do it like in front of TikTok and everything. And they were like, well, yeah, this guy didn't want anything to do with me. And I'm like, clearly, because she's overweight. And people don't understand. This is a mental illness epidemic that's going on everywhere in the whole entire world, not even the United States. It's here in Australia, it's in the United Kingdom where I went to, it's in Norway, it's everywhere. It's just a hellhole. What's going on? So they will sit in their car and they will record their videos having a mental breakdown. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Horrible people. But it happens, you know. And I wish it's gonna change, but it's terrible. And no government can introduce this and everything else like that. I just think it's the first step. I think Rush Limbaugh said it the best way. He said it true, like I want to say it again. Feminism was the best way to getting fat, ugly women to become into the mainstream. And he was correct, and it's absolutely true, especially with TikTok. 100% true. It's true. And these people, they come into the mainstream so ugly, so overweight, and now they can have people watching their videos and everything else like that. It's true. Because before that, it's nobody can do that.
Just horrible.
Because you cannot be like 400 pounds as a woman. It's horrible. Terrible people.
It's true.
And it's true, yeah. 100%.
It's a correlation on like fat women and what we're talking about.
And now they just go on TikTok and they're like, well, yeah, I'm in my car and everything else. I'm like, yeah, that's not how it works. So these are horrible people.
200 pounds, 300 pounds.
You guys hate fat girls more than like pedophilia. Like, I don't get.
Bro, fat chicks are such horrible people. I mean, how are you supposed? How are you fat? You know, like why?
How tall are you, by the way?
6'4".
6'4". You're probably ugly too. I don't believe you're handsome.
100%. I'm 100% ugly and 6'4".
Yeah, look, you can get body shamed yourself. Like, why are you gonna body shame fat people? We're talking about.
Bro, fat people are disgusting.
Fat people body shame themselves.
Stop eating, bro. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I hate.
No,
this.
But they.
You know what I hate the most? Like, incel. You know what I hate the most? Because these people are like, well, yeah. If you're fat, stop eating. It's a simple solution. Stop eating.
But what have they done? Fat chicks are pretty nice. They're not even the root
Stop eating, bro. Stop eating, bro. We're sick of these people. These people are disgusting. They're horrible people. They're disgusting. They're just bad.
They're not the
And like, stop eating. Like,
They're demonic.
my generation, bro.
People are
You
demonic.
remember my generation?
They're not horrible. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Have you ever sat
No, I'm just
on an airplane?
But do you remember our generation? These women used to claim like, yeah, I'm 324 pounds and I'm
What
just
city
beautiful and everything else like that before Ozempic and everything. I was like, and I'm like, fuck off. Nobody likes you because you're fat. You just think like that because of like body positivity and all that bullshit. Nobody likes fat chicks. Nobody likes fat men. It's a whole lie that was gave to them, say to our kids. It's horrible. I don't understand why people do this to different people. Horrible thing you guys do.
What does that do with what we're talking about?
I'm telling you because like you people fell for it, and your generation should have been like, if a girl is weighing more than 300 pounds, you should have been like, you're fat, you're overweight, one of the gym. But your generation of men were like, well, you know, like, it's not the worst thing at all whatsoever.
We're talking about liberalism and
like,
buying a house.
Wait a second. No, your generation
of liberalism and buying a house. What is he talking about?
No. Your generation of men failed us because your generation of men gave these fat chicks confidence. If a woman is more than 300 pounds, just tell us it's fat.
Do you have a wife or a girlfriend?
You failed us. You men were like, well, yeah, you're okay. Now, wait a second. Now you have women that are like 200 pounds and then things are like fucking like Queen Bee and everything else like that. You failed us. You should have told us she was fat from the get-go, but you were like... This is a guy that doesn't have a woman. You were cocked by the woke generation of women that you have. So I don't respect, you know, horrible people. You should have just told them straight away. You have women that like -10, they think they're like 10. Horrible. Just tell them the truth. Should have done the truth. Now we have to tell the truth, and now they start crying, you know?
He sounds real single.
Yeah. He is.
I'm not single. See, this is the shit because you guys are such bitch ass pussies. And you're like, well, you sound single. Bro, your generation of men fucked up so much. You're like, single. I'm like, yeah, no, we're not. The reason why we're not single because we're not going to settle. Wait a second. The reason why like a fucking social worker.
Settle down.
He does sound like a social worker.
Let me reply to this, brother.
I can't, I can't let this heresy continue. You're not going to get, I cannot let it continue. Horrible. You are not going to get the G, H, I, and J cup titties on a woman that only weighs 110 pounds. You just can't. We need those big women for those big titties. So stop your heresy. This is an abomination. I just cannot take it. We got to have them big titties. Okay? All right? That's just the way it is. Thank you. Thank you, Waycheck.
Liberalism didn't fail, by the way, Alan.
You have a Democratic Party saying that if you voted for Trump, you're a racist. Did it solve? In this day and age, that's the message. How many times did Hillary Clinton say that conservative voters, not the politicians, the voters themselves, were terrible, deplorable? How many times did Joe Biden attack MAGA?
You're switching from the person in 1600 Pennsylvania to the voters?
No, they did. They're the ones.
Wait, Alan, let's not act like MAGA.
They're the ones who called MAGA people, the MAGA voters, terrible people.
But dude, let's not act like they're not racist though. Like you have Elon talking about the replacement. Like,
Catalyst.
It isn't some conspiracy.
Catalyst. No. I was on the left in 2016. I remember distinctly the call was anybody who voted for Trump had to be a racist. That was the message going out throughout the Democratic Party.
Well, Alan, if you look at what's taken place since January, we have the assault on the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the assault on the 1965 Voting Rights Act,
Don't come here
on the 1968
Fair Housing Act. You have right now Roberts toying with kicking off the last stand of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act.
Bro, that's such fake news, bro. Don't you stop lying for a good girl, man.
I don't
You're such a liar. People like you can't believe such a horrible people. You can't even stop lying. You're horrible people.
I got it, H-check.
You have right now on the court.
Right now, you're a bullshit.
You have Louisiana. You have Alabama, Louisiana case going on
Nobody
right now.
cares.
Yeah, I know.
I care. I care because my parents fought for this in the '60s, so I care.
Yeah, no, they didn't fight for it. They didn't fight for you to be a retard.
As an American,
and make some money. They
probably just got here. As an American,
Yeah, so A-check, bro, you gotta let Catalyst finish, man. I know you disagree.
He's such a fucking liar.
As an American,
horrible people.
A-check, don't do that to me, bro. Like seriously, man, you gotta chill, bro. You gotta let people get their shit out, and then you can rebut it, man. But you gotta give people a chance to speak what they gotta speak. Go ahead, Catalyst.
Yeah,
as an American,
Catalyst,
and United States veteran.
Jeez, am I not heard? And Catalyst, 1 second. And A-check. I really don't like when Catalyst is speaking, he's making a point. I really don't like when people just respond with an insult or ad hominem attack. I would like to respond to him as well. But if you're going to respond, say something, don't just attack him personally. Anyways, go ahead, Catalyst.
My points were military veteran who's laid on the line for this country from my parents who I grew up, was born in the 60s, and killed in the 80s, fought under Reagan, and then a few incidents afterwards. When I hear right, left, center, the lines of what a political party is using its propaganda to vote is actually not what it is. The reasons why I don't like the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania is because he is a criminal felon, and his actions have shown it this year. Before, I looked at his actions when he was a private citizen, what he's done all my lifetime. So it's not. And do I think he is anti-Black, racist? I think he is pro for him, and anything that doesn't look like him, he is not for. But both parties have the exact same anti-Blackness. But what I see is taking place right now with the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania is he's directly knocking off the underpinnings of the things that my parents were arrested for: dog bites, water hose, Jim Crow, the things they fought for. So my siblings and I could be a part of a more perfect union. And I see it directly taking place at warp speed with the acolytes that he's put around him, to the point where voting, civil, economic, the underpinnings are being kicked out all over the place. So now where my grandchildren will have I do well, so they'll be fine economically, but other children will have a more challenging time. And there seems to be a massive silence from the other side of the aisle that seems to be just simply okay with this as an American who is a vet.
Yeah, I think Alan's he's kind of older. I don't think he's on Twitter. We're not talking about regular, it's not even 2017 MAGA. We're talking about people that want to repeal the Hart-Stiller Act and deport 100 million people. That's literally big ideas right now that are popular.
Yeah, I am older, which means I've seen a lot more than anybody else on this stage. So, Catalyst, first, let me say, if I say anything, I am not discounting your perception and your viewpoint. I also recognize I doubt anything I could say is going to change your mind. So, first of all, I don't want to get into a heated debate. Though, if Sig, you want us to, because it'll bring in more people, I'm glad to do it as long as Catalyst is going on. But I think I've had enough of that lately. So, joking aside, you know, yes, your parents fought for all of those things. And what happened to your parents was wrong. But other people fought for it too. Now, maybe they didn't experience the same thing you did or your parents did. But it was the rest of the country who said, yes, those things are wrong. So we are also going to work to try and stop those injustices. Now, I'm not putting any extra virtue on myself, but I think we can acknowledge that with Black people and being a minority in this country, that it took the rest of the country or a majority of the country to co-sign into what the civil rights was fighting for.
Yeah, that wasn't Alan. That's bullshit.
Okay.
Slaves
Right.
fought for their own freedom. No white man fought. No, the North and the South, they fought over economics and over whether the South was going to see the civil rights. Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that what happened. Slaves fought for their own freedom. No.
Okay.
The North and South were a bunch of white supremacists.
You're saying
born into the white supremacist system, and they fought for their own freedom. The South and the North were bullshit.
Freedom.
They never had freedom and justice in mind.
White man. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, sure. There might be one. There might be one or two sprinkled there, but it wasn't largely. Yeah, it wasn't. That wasn't largely what the civil rights war, the Civil War was about, and it's not what happened. It was over economics. It was over whether the South was going to cede. It was over whether the Union was going to be dismantled because the South wanted slavery and the North wanted to maintain it. That's the truth.
We got your
okay,
point.
well, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Good.
Everything that our family, our black family fought for, they fought for themselves.
I'm sorry. What was the percentage of Black Americans in the United States
they did.
in 1965? What was the percentage of Black Americans in the United States in 1965? 10%, 11%? 13, 14%. If every Black American voted for civil rights in 1965 and every white person was against it, it never would have passed. So let's deal with reality. Say thank you to the white man for giving you, for supporting you, and recognizing, because the majority of white people
for seeing you as a human being. Thank you for seeing me as a human being. Alan, what the fuck?
Say thank you.
Luckily, every white man didn't get their head fucking blown off. I would have fucking Malcolm X that motherfucker all day.
In any event.
Hey, Alan.
In any event.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Alan, you want to go back to, so if you recall, from 1619 to 1776, when this place formed, it was very different. From 1776 to 1865 was the Holocaust of African enslavement in this country. From 1865 to about 1877, during Reconstruction and whatnot, that's when the first Civil Rights Act of 1865, Section 81 was put in effect. We had from 1877 to 1964, almost 100 years of Jim Crow, of forced segregation, of forced what took place. Going back to 1865. The whole war, the North and the South. The reason why Lincoln, people get this mixed up. It was about economics, Alan. If you remember history, the South, Jefferson Davis wanted to sell its vegetables and its plants to France because France.
Okay.
All right. Remember.
What I remember
if
is
you remember,
Lincoln,
Lincoln said to the Jefferson Davis, "No, you can't do that. We want to sell our cattle and our beef." And Jefferson Davis said, "No." And Lincoln said, "If you do that, we're going to take away your workers that are enslaved." It was about economics, Alan, never about altruism of white people. It was 100% about economics in 1865. Yeah, have you guys gone to college?
He's right. He's right. He was about economics.
It was about economics.
Do some research on why Great Britain ended slavery, and the United States was following that same model.
And if you get to 1964, that's a totally different time. But remember, it was 100 years of Jim Crow from 1877 to 1964.
That's right. It is a different time. And so we
had codes, and you had folks, and so
all of those things.
And you talked about how many black people were in percentage in 1965.
Yeah, I think my mic is low. But yes, we had all of those things. So civil rights and other laws were created to right the wrongs and injustices that happened to black people. That's it.
You know what happened after the civil rights? Do you know what happened after the civil rights? Get all white economic. It was all propaganda. Do you know how many thousands of black Americans lost their jobs?
I am still talking. Okay. Now, where was I? Yes. Okay. Now, how long does that need to go on for? Because I remember affirmative action. I remember college professors of mine who said, yes, I am a product of affirmative action. And you know what? That was a good thing. I think that was a good thing. What I also think is a good thing is that it not go on forever. That's what I think. And what metric are we going to use to decide whether or not those things continue? I don't know. But I don't think we should use racism is prejudice plus power and redefine it, because it seems like every 5 years or so, the left is redefining what racism is, what prejudice is, what all of these things are. And I think maybe we can have a discussion if we're not being overly emotional about when these things should end. Because we're also looking at a country. Forgive me, but I remember seeing the graphic. It's like the total length of slavery in the world, and it's like a line, say 10 inches long. And then the amount of slavery in the United States, and it's a line less than an inch long.
It's about retressing. You got the Indian land grab. You got President Andrew Jackson's Indian Removal Act. You got the Dawes Act of 1870. Okay. You got the Holocaust of enslavement of the Africans. You got the Jim Crow laws.
Look, I suddenly centered myself in this.
You got the white terrorism, the Klan. You got the Hamitic myth. Sharecropping. You got compromise of 1877. I know. So when you ask how long should it end, it has never ended. You got the Homestead Act of 1865. You got the Labor Union movement.
Are those laws legal today?
Yeah. You got the Asian Exclusion Act of 1890. You got Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896.
You have fair housing laws that erase all of anything having to do with housing.
It did not, because things are still redlined in 2025, sir.
Yeah. Guess what?
But they're redlined in the opposite direction. What city? I was just looking at an article about that. There's a city being sued right now I forgot what city. I'll look it up real quick. But
Sir?
yeah, they actually the housing they actually were approving blacks and denying whites for.
Sir, in 2000 and 2020, in 2000 and 2001, I worked as a software developer for a company that actually dictates what the rules of lending are going to be based on ethnicity. And B of A, about 12 top banks all use the same software to put in redlining depending on ethnicity, still taking place in 2025.
Can I
what are we talking about?
The code accounted for slavery, like in the code, it was actually written on the line that.
Can you all hear me?
Oh yeah, but I was talking. Hold on a second. Can you all saying the code in the software was?
Yes, I hear you.
Are you saying the code in the software was literally doing an if condition of the ethnicity to then approve the loan? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And it never was broadcast in all the major media markets?
Never broadcasted. Still not broadcasted.
Wow.
The only black person in the entire company. Company called Capital Stream. They got
Man, you could have blown that whole thing wide open if you had just gone to the media.
That creates software for loan and leasing for large banks for the decisioning as to who they're going to loan money to for housing and for commercial properties. It still takes place today in 2025.
And is underwriting done by automatic means?
No.
So you still have a person there who makes the decision.
There are human beings that are making decisions to economically bankrupt a whole class of individuals. And you mentioned something, Alan. Black Americans are not minorities in the United States. There are, 13, 14%? I think in America, there are only 3% Jews, so they're not minorities. I'm talking about, but as far as economic, there's an entire playbook to make sure Black Americans stay economically depressed in perpetuity. That's the redress I'm talking about. That needs to be addressed.
I wanna ask a question. Like,
this guy
just give me a second.
Check. Let Christian go. Let Christian go. He's new to the stage.
Okay. So there was something that was said that was just totally factually incorrect. And I don't know where that ideology came from about why the Ohio Republicans, who were the authors of the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment, which were all Lincoln disciples, what was the reason that they ended slavery? It was not about profit. I mean, I don't. This whole premise is just so factually wrong. It was a moral opposition. It was because of religious and humanitarian beliefs. It was because of abolitionist communities. It was also political strategy, and then the dynamics of the Civil War, and it was more so about the positioning of the country. And if you do any history about the authors, the actual authors of the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment, you will find that these men were vehemently against slavery, and so much as being vehemently against slavery, but they actually added enforcement against the states from continuing slavery even after the end of slavery, which is the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, which today is Section 1983, which is what all these ridiculous groups, from the LGBTQs to the unions and all the aliens who claim that their civil rights are being violated, it was intended for Black people. That's what it was intended for. But even today, they walk into federal court and even state courts alleging that their civil rights have been violated. It's total abomination. But, you know, again, you can thank the Democrats for that. But then the other piece of this is that the Democrats, who historically not only voted against the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment, voted against the Civil Rights Acts.
Those aren't the same Democrats.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
The Dixie Democrats. The whole thing changed.
I don't need your help.
I'm giving you history.
I don't need your help
because you're factually incorrect.
And you mute
that was the Dixie Democrats.
Can you mute up?
Talking about people. Things changed after LBJ.
Can you mute up?
You don't understand that, right?
Can you mute up?
Do you know things change?
Can you mute up?
Can you apply the change?
Can you mute up? Thank you. The premise of all of the nonsense that we've heard for decades about how the, quote, parties switched, end quote. When you start dissecting all of these so-called political parties that switched or that got into a room in a back door or private conference to officially switch or change parties, it never happened. There was no switching of parties. You had not even more than a handful of politicians, such as people like Strom Thurmond, who were racist, that were playing, dirty games with trying to appear that they were switching parties or switching sides. So there was no switching of parties. And when you start digging deeper into folks' political leanings, you begin to find out what the real reason was for one or two or three or four people switching parties. So I mean, it is that is another, once again, fallacy that people continue to say, even to the year 2025, after we have seen so much of the media, the perpetuation of which the Democrats even admit that their media blitzes from the 1960s was propaganda and illusion and fantasy. I mean, so it's just it's getting to a point where when you continue to hear these lies over and over and over, it starts to become like it's like a conundrum, because you're like, it's like you know that historically that people who listen to these lies, which they've actually come out and admitted that they were sorry for putting out these lies in things like the Cosmopolitan and the abortion movement, the Roe from Roe v. Wade. I mean, it really, to me, it's just ironic that in 2025 we have to listen to the same exact lies about what happened in history, knowing the fact that the same people who were lying about abortion, who were lying about the benefits of immigration, who were lying about the criminal justice system, lying about the Violence Against Women Act. All these people lying about the LGBTQ, lying about the base of marriage, lying about and then go further back, lying about the Second Amendment. The same people lying to the public.
All right, enough with the filibustering.
It's not filibustering.
It's total filibustering. Let's get some facts here.
Outright lying.
The Dixiecrat movement was very huge. If you recall, Strom Thurmond in 1948, a Dixiecrat presidential candidate, switched his party to the Republican Party in '64 as a direct opposition to the Civil Rights Act. So I have no idea what you're talking about. The passage of the Civil Rights Act in '64, signed into law by Democrat President Lyndon Baines Johnson, was the primary catalyst, while many Southern Democrats felt betrayed by the National Party's embrace of civil rights. The Southern strategy, Republican strategist, notably Richard Nixon in 68 and 72 campaigns, implemented a Southern strategy that used coded language, dog whistling, and policies to appeal to white Southern voters disaffected by racial integration and the Democratic Party's leftward swing on social issues. I have no idea what you've read or who taught you or what you listened to, sir.
Yeah,
but it's just simply inaccurate.
Not only that, but also if morality was sufficient, we wouldn't have required a war to happen between the North and the South. We wouldn't have required to have Jim Crow laws last for nearly a century. We wouldn't have required Civil Rights Act movements. If morality was sufficient, things would have happened and changed a long time ago. There was arguments that were being made in regards to the abolishment of slavery and humanity of the black community and stuff like that significantly much prior to any actual change manifesting in the laws of the country. So to sit here and argue that economics was not the major factor that played a role in that, just look at how the country just developed from an economy that depended on human labor to industrializing and just having machines carry the whole thing. It just became the human cost of just having slave in and of itself became just costly to carry out. Not only that, but also you had a significant period of time from the moment of the industrialization of that or the abolishment of slavery per se, all the way down to the early 80s and 90s and up until the 2000s until today, where we have remnants of many, many laws and things that were passed around that carried out till this day. We have settlements that happened as recent as 2011, 2012 in regards to certain banks like Bank of America that had to settle out with $300+ million where they were clear and explicitly discriminating against black people who have applied for mortgages and loans and things like that.
With Wells Fargo last year.
Yeah. So and
why did they have to settle? Why did they have to settle?
Go read it, brother. Go Google.
I'll tell you why. Because there is a law by which it is illegal to do what they did. So therefore, like any other thing that is illegal, from murder to theft, to larceny, to extortion, to rape, to sexual assault, people are going to do it.
I agree.
Congratulations.
No, Ellen, I agree.
Congratulations.
I agree with you, but this is the point.
No, no, you're missing the point.
I'll tell you what.
You expect people to somehow, the government and laws are going to make people perfect.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
They never
Here's
will.
why I brought that up.
Name the law that says I can go in, that a black man can go in, and it is legal for me to discriminate against that.
Okay, Alan, the people's proclivity. No problem about people's proclivity.
And we're not talking about these shadowy, amorphous.
No problem. I'll tell you. Just give me a second. People's proclivity towards racism and discrimination against different groups is not contingent on laws that support these proclivities.
That's right. That's right.
So the reason
in 2008,
one second.
2008.
Let me clarify.
95% of the country did not think race was an issue in the election.
No problem. But hear me out.
Are you shooting for 3%?
No. The issue here isn't nada. The main reason why I even brought these settlements up, Catalyst, just 1 second, bro. The reason why I even brought these settlements up in the first place is because of the question that was being asked earlier. People were saying, what is name a law that is racist against black? You do not need a law to have a manifestation of racism on an institutional level. I don't need a law. You could just have people in power who will use their power to discriminate against people, and you do need regulations and things in place to check for those things. But when you have an administration like the current one, which literally is going out of their way to take out certain incentives and things put in place because of the Civil Rights Act numerically put things into number in regards to disparities and things like that. And they say, well, these things are not really that important. And they passed these laws already. They patched laws that have existed to look out for disparities in regards to how things manifest. You cannot say there's I need a racist law for racism to exist. That's the two are not mutually exclusive. You can have racism and have racist laws.
You can have individual companies who break the law. Yes, I'm old. I come from a time where we didn't bother trying to change how people thought. We worried about how they acted and their behaviors and their actions. If a company is breaking the law and discriminating against a person because of their ethnic or racial background, then they will be prosecuted against the law.
Yeah,
but when we talk about incentives, I got 2 points. I'll talk about incentives and then Lincoln. Because when you talk about incentives, again, how long are those incentives going to be in place? And at what point I know nobody likes to stand on pull you up by the bootstraps, but how long are we going to leave the training wheels on the bike? That's the question I ask. The second thing is, I'm sorry, but for the man who took a fucking bullet in his head, who gave numerous speeches about abolition and the horrors of slavery, yet one time he says, well, if I could end this country, are you all housewives who no matter what your husband does, all you remember is that one time he didn't buy you flowers for your birthday? Please, I'm sorry. It is sickening to hear those kind of arguments from the president who, guess what? He's the president of the entire country. He needs to worry about a lot of things, not just that black people are enslaved. He has to worry about keeping the country together. He has to be a politician. He has to try and appease everyone. So, he's going to say a lot of crap that you don't like, just like every other president. Yet, being the tactician he did, he waited until the opportune moment to bring slavery as an issue into the Civil War in order to ensure that when the North wanted, that slavery would be abolished. So I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings that he was concerned about economic factors as president of the United States. Okay. But that's it. And number one, Catalyst, call him President Trump or I will move you to the audience. He is not the current occupant of the White House. He is not 45 and 47. He is President Trump.
All right, move me. As a vet, he is not. He's White House.
Yeah, well, as a vet, you serve the citizens of this country, and we elected President Trump.
America.
So to rebut what you said, what specifically has taken place over the past 11-ish months is the civil rights and non-discrimination protections, the rollback of disparate impact rules that this president has done. It's weakening the enforcement. It's revocation of fair housing rules as far as affirmative action, banning those programs and training that LBJ put in effect to actually form a racist. ending affirmative action in federal contracting, a decades-old executive order from Johnson that required federal contractors to take active steps to prevent discrimination. It was revoked. Challenging private sector equity programs, education and economics, proposed cuts to HBCU funding, redistricting pathways to federal jobs, criminal justice and law enforcement, increased federal law enforcement presence, the deployment of federal law enforcement units to primarily Black cities, and establishing the policies of ending cash bail. Racial profiling concerns, Supreme Court decisions influence administration's actions in some immigration context. Nothing to do with black. That's nothing to do with black people. That's other people.
You're just saying words, Catalyst.
Okay, well, Catalyst.
Question.
Hold on, Alan. Can I jump in, Alan?
I gave you a list of rights, affirmative action, economic education,
great,
and criminal justice and law enforcement. I'm not just
with affirmative action is not racist.
Yeah,
Alan, can I jump in here?
To echo the Me Too movement, time's up. Okay, at some point, you as a black man have to compete like every other man on this planet. Period. And the color of your skin is not a pathway to Easy Street.
Unlike
I'm sorry. And especially, I'm sorry, I don't have all the statistics, but it seems to me that during Jim Crow, you had, and let someone else, Christian, you can talk about the marriage rate, the black-owned housing,
he's gonna go,
et cetera,
oh my gosh.
Yep. Alan, can I jump in, buddy?
Delusional.
Yeah, I need to stop talking because
Alan, you're just
delusional.
Please.
Yeah.
So what
Mike, go ahead.
Alan, thank you. Alan, you're going about it wrong, but what Alan's basically saying is, like he's saying enough's enough, right? Affirmative action was needed at the time, but now it's gone so far to where, okay, well, now it's equal now, right? If it's 30,
it is not equal.
On, man. It's
not equal.
Affirmative action benefited white bitches.
Christ almighty, you guys.
Let's be realistic.
That's what I'm saying. So now affirmative action, Alan's basically saying now to keep implementing affirmative action stuff, it's now going the other way. It's now actually discriminatory against the people that were being discriminated, that were doing discriminating in the first place. So now it's turning out that people are not, like, it's going the other way now. So now technically affirmative action would be a racist action because it's discriminating against another group of people. So that's what Alan's kind of basically saying. Enough's kind of thing. But hold on, Catalyst, real quick. We got off topic because Link kind of got us somewhere else. I want to go back to this whole great switch thing. And I'm going to say it like this, Catalyst, and I hope you hear me out, and I'm going to explain it if you want to hear it. The whole great switch is not about politicians switching sides. That's not what it's about. The great switch is about when the South went red. That's all it's about. Because the South was all blue. The South was blue. Every single state that you see in the South that's all red, the whole South, they were all blue. All of them, up until like the 60s. All of them, every single one of them. And when the South went red was when the South stopped being racist. And you have to understand that. You mentioned the Civil Rights Act.
Goldwater for that, Mike Allen. Thank Barry Goldwater for that.
You mentioned the Civil Rights Act. Go look at the Civil Rights Act. Yeah, Lyndon Johnson was Democratic president. Yes, the Democrats had the Senate when that happened. But you know how many senators were in the Democratic Party in that time? There was like 70 something of them. And only like 30 of them voted for it. The only way the Civil Rights Act got passed is because every single Republican senator voted for it. The Democrats, like, I think it was like, I forget what it was like 40 of them only voted for it, and like 26 of them voted against it. But the Republicans, every single senator voted for it. Once that happened, the South started to go red. So now you start seeing politicians like Christian mentioned, Strom Thurmond. Thurmond was that one who famously did the filibuster against the Civil Rights Act. And then the Civil Rights Act passed, and he's like, oh, I guess I'll be a Republican now. And that's when he went off into obscurity. The switch is about when the South went non-racist, when they became red.
Sir, you're inaccurate. My father's from Birmingham, Alabama. My uncle was killed by white cops. my grandfather was killed by white cops in Birmingham, Alabama, in '64 and in '65 because he was a black man. So when I hear this nonsense about people not being racist in the South,
Catalyst
completely
have
no idea.
It's not Catalyst.
You're not listening.
Yeah, you're not listening.
I know. I've heard countless stories of uncles and
I've
aunts and
seen
people
racism
in the South, in Alabama, in Kentucky, in Mississippi. God damn Mississippi.
I'm from Arkansas, Catalyst. Can you hear me for a second?
So I've seen and been taught this by parents and grandparents.
You've been taught it. I've seen it. Now, here's how I experienced racism. When I was little, there's a baseball tournament for All Stars baseball for like the Little League World Series, right? You got to go to you do your sectionals, then you do the regionals, then you go to like the Little League World Series. The regionals were held in a place called Harrison, Arkansas. Now, if anybody knows about Harrison, Arkansas, like even to today, there's like the KKK thing there at Harrison, Arkansas. It's considered one of the most racist places in the country, right? I was a kid, and the tournament was there. Teams from Mississippi, all over the southeast region. That's where they had the tournament. Now, the deal with the Bambino, the Bambino League or whatever they called it back then, the people from the community would house 3 players from each team. That's how it worked, right? That's how all of them worked. There's an all-black team from New Orleans. Nobody in the community wanted to have the kids in their house. Not a single person. Nobody. They didn't want them in their house. They were going to be the only team that had to get a hotel, right? So my father, who was one of the assistant coaches, was Coach Butler, was the head coach. So they went to the main people, or whatever. And they were asking what the whole thing's all about. What's going on here? This isn't right, or whatever. Our team ended up staying in the Holiday Inn with that team. Actually, it was one of the best times of our lives because we had a pool. We were playing baseball in the parking lot and shit, bro. It was fucking fun as fuck, right? But looking back, so I experienced this. And now looking back on it, you know what pisses me off the most, Catalyst? Is the fact that when Coach Butler and my father went to them, they were just like, you can go stay in the hotel too then.
I'm talking about
like it's fucking nuts, bro.
The modern
Jim Crow. There's racist people doesn't change the fact that the Democrats are the most destructive party to the Black Americans in the history of any political party on the planet. It's not even close.
Project 2025 completely
Black Americans. Like let's not pick one side of the E-roll, one side is the fucking.
It's about even Jim Clyburn said it's completely reversing decades of civil rights progress. You have civil rights, the elimination of affirmative action and black rights across federal agencies,